Hey, Coach. I'm so glad you found us on YouTube. Let me know if you have any questions. Leave a comment down below. Make sure you subscribe. Hopefully this video will help in your basketball journey. If you're looking for a little bit more detail, check out teachhoops.com down either in the show notes or up above. It is a social community of resources, of other coaches, of me, one-on-one coaching. Just go check it out. 14-day free trial. It's a great gig. I think you'll love it. And let me know if you have any questions. Have a great day.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be easy.
That can be easier than the
Yeah, no, for sure. Especially with, I have about 15,000 expo markers and none of them work. My kids get into them, my students get into them. And,
I know.
The 30 that have died for the year is not enough.
All right, let me, hold on, let me change. Audio. That's all right. Okay.
All right. Well, like I said, a lot of what I have tonight is kind of just X's and O's stuff.
Okay,
Talking
perfect.
with my staff, we want to, make sure we're all on the same page here early before the season, and usually we meet in end of September, again in October, and then right before the season starts, we all get together and I have a kind of a playbook, if you want to say, but we're doing things different this year, so I want to make sure that I have everything ready to go here.
So playbook you talking about for the coaches or a playbook for the boys?
A little bit of both, I guess, in the past. Okay. See, in the past, we've run just a super traditional 4-out motion, pass, screen away, limiting basket cuts. I mean, get the ball inside. Like, it hasn't been anything crazy.
Yep.
So there really isn't a lot in there.
Yep.
And then just our basic zone offense is just kind of like a 1-3-1 set. So there really wasn't a lot to show the kids.
Okay.
But this year, I have athletes and I want to do things bigger and bigger, I guess,
yes.
So it's a good thing. But I'm struggling to get my wheels turning a little bit because by my own, I'm a defensive coach. I mean, that's what I know.
Yep. So you coach girls?
Varsity boys.
Varsity boys. Okay. So do the boys, are the boys cerebral? Can they pick stuff up fast?
Yeah, I have a really good group of young kids that's the problem with the 9th and 10th graders.
Okay.
But yeah, I think so. And especially if I can get it in now.
Yep. And you want to train them so that moving forward, they're going to have all this. Yes.
Right. And it's nice thing is that actually my assistant has coached them all the way through.
Yeah, I knew that. Yep.
5-out type motion. So they're used to moving without the ball. They haven't ran a lot of that stuff.
Okay.
So I guess what I'm getting is I have a really good post player. Probably going to be one of the better ones in the conference this year. But looking down the pipeline, like small school I'm not going to have a post player for probably like the next 7-8 years unless I get a transfer in.
Yep.
So, I'm trying to do stuff this year to utilize my post player, but also have stuff that in the future. See, what I'm struggling with is we're going to run sort of like a dribble drive motion this year.
Okay.
And I don't want to run like sole dribble drive because I think it's too much. We're starting to talk about like drag areas and all that stuff. I don't want to wear the kids down with that stuff.
Yep. You want to, I mean, ideally when you push this in, you should have 3 rules. Everything should be no more than 3. So,
and that's what I want. And that's what I want to talk about tonight because me and my JV coach, we're kind of basically like co-head coaches. We do it all together.
Yep.
Trying to hammer out 3 rules. And I've been looking at, dribble drive rules, been looking at read and react rules, trying to get some inspiration from it. So basically I want a 4-out motion with kind of the rule aspect of read and react, but with the dribble mentality of dribble drive, if that makes sense. So
It does. So is that where you're thinking of putting the post in the low block?
Yeah. And I want to see that's the issue.
That's going to cause some cutting issues.
It is. Here's what I'll just kind of tell you what I'm thinking here.
Okay.
In the future, I'm always going to have this post player backside. So if the ball's here, I want him away from the ball.
Right. That
way, like that traditional dribble drive where he's always opposite the ball. That way, when we drive, we have that dump off or that.
Yep.
That lob.
Yep.
Like I said, we have such a dominant post player this year. It's going to be hard to keep him backside all the time. So I'm hoping that he can mix in a little bit of both.
Well, I think you got to maybe give him different rules. I think you got to have 2 sets of rules for this year, and then
the rules you're probably going to have moving forward should be for the 4 exterior guys.
Yeah.
But I think the big, you should have some specific rules, like some ball screen rules, some when to screen away rule.
Right.
You know, I think you're gonna. I think you're right. If you want to do dribble drive stuff, like if the guy over here that has the little D over here on the far left, if he starts driving, I think you want replacement rules. Like, how are the guys going to replace? You know, you want somebody replacing behind the person that's dribbling to the basket.
Right. So the only real rule that I have, so we experimented with this summer a little bit.
Okay.
And we kind of use terminology like these 2 guys are tops, these 2 guys are bottoms.
Oh, that's a good idea.
To recognize. So
okay.
Summer we were playing around with on a top to bottom pass.
Yep.
I had this guy shallow cutting, because our problem is when we were cutting to the basket, they were just taking our cutters and just clogging up the lane. So we found that the shallow cut, it still gives this guy the ability. Can you see when I'm moving this cursor around?
I can see everything. So okay. I agree that I think if he cuts to the basket, yeah, it's not a true read and react. So the lanes, if that post wasn't there, it would work. But the post being there is going to clog things up.
Right. So I have him shallow cutting, filling to a corner. Either if it's a baseline drive, this guy's staying down. If he's
where the defenders would be, and then I think that will help with kind of seeing. So
with the ball on the top.
Well, yeah, let's do it on the top first. So the ball's on the top.
The ball's on top.
So the defender's going to be. Yeah, you got to switch. It's kind of a pain in the butt. But okay, yep. So the defender's going to be there. Okay, there's going to be a defender
both the guys in our league and the teams that we play, we don't see a lot of denial up the line. It's very traditional, so we'll have these guys probably more in a help position already.
Right, and then this guy, the post guy, is going to be in the help.
Right.
I mean, there's no cut spots. That's the point I'm trying to make with that big there.
Right.
That it's almost like the ball goes from a top to the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So think about what happens. The ball goes there. Yep. So the ball gets passed to the baseline. He's gonna that guy's gonna jump to the ball. This guy's gonna jump. You almost should set a back screen for the guy that passed it.
Yeah. See, the only thing that's nice and what I like about the dribble drive is the idea of creating those double gaps. And I mean,
but is the double gap going to be there if they're not denying?
I'm screwing this up here. On a top to top pass, we shallow cut. I'm sorry. So on a top to top pass, so if the ball's here, I'm sorry, it gets passed here, we're shallow cutting with this guy. I'm sorry. So
okay.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a rub screen, sort of.
Yep. So that makes more sense. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That was my fault.
Okay.
So he's shallow cutting.
Yep.
And then we got that double gap with him coming across.
Yep.
And then this guy's circling up. This guy's filling the corner.
And did you get looks on that this summer? That seems like it would work. Yes.
Yeah, we really did. And it's something simple, top to top pass. Well, we're struggling with, and this is probably why I said it, because we were talking about it just with my coach today, on this top to bottom pass. I want a super simple rule. In years past, in the traditional, we had this guy setting just a screen.
Right away. That's what everyone does. Yeah.
Right. And I mean,
you want the corner guy to be able to dribble, because there's not a lot of options for him.
I want when he's catching it, I want him to either attack baseline or I want him to attack middle.
Okay. Because personally, defensively, he ain't going baseline. If he goes baseline, I'm trapping him. That's where I want him to go. So he really only has one option, which is go middle.
Okay.
So that's why I was thinking maybe you want to set up. That's why I was thinking if the post came and set a back screen, it would keep people honest. There's going to have to be some discussion between those two defenders at that point, especially the only issue is if you got them driving middle, it's going to clog things up a little bit.
Are you saying set a back screen on
the guy that just passed it?
Okay.
So you're going to have to do something with that post if you want him driving. Otherwise, that guy's just going to be sitting there in the middle of the paint. So maybe he sets up – I don't know. Maybe these two set a double screen away, or maybe these top two set a I don't know. I just worried about this guy sitting in the paint. Because why would he move? He's not going to move.
Right. Well, so that's what I'm thinking. If he can drive – if this guy can drive middle, he steps over, to help. And then this guy's put in a spot, either he's sliding down or we can get that kick to the corner.
Yep. So then you got to keep these two guys occupied on top.
And that's where I was thinking, and I was running this by, and we haven't ran a ton of it. But what if this guy comes? So on this pass, so
any pass, you got to come up with a rule for the guys. So any pass from the top to the bottom.
With this, if he comes over and sets a flare screen here, and so as he's driving, I don't know if this is too complicated, if it's too involved. As he's driving, this guy's put in position, this guy's coming. They're basically just switching positions.
Yeah, but they're flaring. I like that because it's basically giving. I always like my drivers to have outs, so it's an easy rule. Anytime it goes from a top, you already have a rule from a top to a top. So then you need a rule from top to bottom is always a flare. The only issue is the post. You might want the post not to always sit there. You might want him to set a screen sometimes. You might want him to curl. You might want him to go to the block that in which he's. You might want him to curl all the way to the opposite low block too.
And that's gonna be kind of the rule that I think we'll have is if he gets into the lane, I want him to circle.
Yep, I think that's a good move. Yeah.
And then it puts both of these defenders. This guy's not going to be looking because he's going to be looking at ball.
Right.
I think we'll get a lot. And we did some of this summer. Like we didn't have rules, just out of timeouts and stuff in summer league games. We just kind of drew up motions that we wanted to see.
Yep.
The only issue that I have with this, and this is kind of where I'm stuck, where I'm just going to go back and I'm going to put everybody back.
Yep.
So we get this top to bottom pass.
Yep.
And this guy comes over, sets his flare.
Yep.
Maybe.
Yeah.
He comes over, and this guy drives. The only issue that I'm having is resetting in positions after it. If there's a natural.
Yeah. So what's that guy going to do when he gets? First of all, if he gets to the paint, he's probably going to shoot it. But but let's say he kicks it to the other low block.
Yep.
So then he would just replace himself. If he kicks to one of the guards, these guys should maybe interchange. The other low baseline guy should go all the way through, and he should. It's just like a continuous motion to the other block.
Because this guy, is already he's setting this flare.
Right,
screen.
he's already high.
He's already high.
Yep.
And so maybe this guy, like you said, he can just.
These two basically got to work in tandem, and these two got to work in tandem.
Right.
The only rule I don't think we've talked about is what happens when it goes from a bottom to a bottom.
So if he drives and kicks it.
Yep. So
then I think he can just replace back then.
I do too. Because really you have options of top to top, bottom to bottom, top to bottom.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the way I see it, we don't, and I went back and watched game film. We don't see a ton of these bottom to top passes. I don't know why it just kind of works out that way, but we don't see a ton of top to bottom passes, mostly because I taught my guys, like with that dribble drive, kind of a zero count. Either these guys are shooting or they're driving.
Right.
So we don't see a ton of passes from bottom to top.
Okay.
And I think if we do get that, I don't think I need any motion off of it.
I don't think so either. I think you got to have those three different things, and then if the big guy's good, you got to give him freedom.
Right, and that's where kind of. Well, I'm going to stick with this just for a second. Cut through on. I'm just writing this down, top to top, and then I think flare. So those are two pretty basic rules that I think I can kind of get by.
Yep.
Is there anything else that you can think of if I'm putting rules in?
I wouldn't. I mean, you might want specific calls, like you might want a ball screen call, or you might want to. But I mean, if you're running a true motion, you want to keep it simple.
Right. And that's where I was thinking, like, if we're not scoring in transition, have some simple entries.
Right. And tops can become bottoms, and bottoms can become tops. So they know, they have to know more than you would think they have to know.
Right.
Right.
So I have a couple like just entry kind of ideas.
Okay.
That I want to get my my post player involved a little bit.
Yep.
Because there were times last year, and this is where I failed as a coach, where he's scoring, and then all of a sudden we don't give him the ball anymore.
Right. He needs to get touches. He needs to get touches.
And I'm telling the kids, hey, we need to get inside touches. We need to get inside touches. But I'm not doing anything to get him inside touches. I'm just
right. And you need to show them how he can get inside touches, and that's where quick hitters and stuff like that can help.
So this is one. Tell me if this is bad.
Okay.
top to bottom pass.
Yep.
Shallow cut, so it's looking just like a normal.
Yep.
But then this guy, we kind of have like a little cross here, so he's coming down. So this would be, first option.
Yep.
Again, hopefully that his defender gets caught in the nets. If not, then he comes, just kind of sets like a block to block. Then he comes across. I'll do that. I'll show you.
How about a double there?
So ball goes down.
Yep.
This guy, like a normal shallow cut.
Yep.
This guy crosses.
Doesn't get it.
Doesn't get it.
And then how good is your big? Can your big hit a 12-footer?
Yeah, he's pretty good.
So I think you got to take both those guards. You got to set a double for him at that point if you want to get him the ball. So yep. So that guy does the shallow. He can stay right there. So
he does the shallow.
Yep. He does the shallow. He stays right there. The other guy cuts. If he doesn't get it, then they both in unison go over and set that, and he gets to read it. The only issue is this guy in the baseline's got to rise a little bit to look for a skip, for a three, to keep his man honest. And then I would set a double there, and then that gives him freedom. Am I going to go low? Am I going to go high? Maybe I'm even going to go through him and do a double, do like a low gate kind of thing. So if he's really good, I'd get him freedom to read the screen.
The only thing I guess the only thing I would worry about is just a lot of congestion in here.
It is, but trust me, they're going to be worried about him more than your other two guards.
Right. I mean, because he's like a legit 20 and 20 kind of guy.
Right. So they got to go set good screens, and then he's got to read it because he's going to get the ball low. He can spin. He might get the ball high at the elbow. It's a lot of people, but not if they're setting a good double screen together.
And he has really good feet. I mean, he's like a low level D1 defensive end type.
Right. Yeah. Then you want to set that because that's easy because what it is, and you need a call that's not going to throw it off. It looks like your normal offense.
Right. Especially with the initial shallow cut.
The initial shallow cut, and maybe he even flares once in a while and then goes and sets a screen.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't necessarily have to even cut to the basket if you really need a bucket. Flare and then go. And then they just kind of, and then you could do it as a staggered even.
Yeah, so that was another one that I had.
Yep.
Was a stagger type screen off of this.
Right. So that one would work as a stagger too if he didn't curl and look for a hoop. He could have stayed high.
I'm really good at drawing plays up and simple hitters for these guys.
Right.
Not so good at getting things for this guy. And that's really one of the only ones that I kind of like. We ran this one last year and had a ton of success where we get a top to bottom pass.
Yeah.
And then we set a stagger here.
Yep.
Circles are getting more oblong as they go. So these guys set a. There you go. So he comes off of it.
Yep.
So he comes off of it, and he has a choice. He curls or he straight cuts.
Yep.
This guy is reading it. If he curls and he pops, if he pops and he curls.
Yep.
Well, it's super simple stagger, but we had a ton of success with that.
Staggers work. That's what I'm saying. For the big, you can get staggers. I'll send you a couple other big things that I did when I used to have like big boys. I'll find a couple. I'm writing myself a note right now. I'll find a couple other ISOs that can kind of, and that's where I'm telling you, I know you don't necessarily want to do it, but that's where there's ways where you can clear out a side and set up. Do you have a decent guard that can pass on a slip?
Yeah, well, I have a sophomore.
Ball screen would work.
Who's going to be really good. Actually, well, see, that's the problem. So this is my senior right here. And then I have like 9th grader, 10th grader, 10th grader. But every single one of these kids can make, legitimately 5, 6 3-pointers a game.
Right. So the issue is, I'm going to use your top bottom thing. These two top guys could go set a screen from the bottom left guy, and then these guys could run a two. You got to think NBA-ish almost. These two got to run a 2-man game where he sets a ball screen and he flares, he rolls, and then this guy can go to the. That's where you got to think. If you've got somebody that can create with him, especially if you can shoot threes, if you're setting a staggered away, they're going to worry about him hopping a three. So that's where I think you want to get some ISOs with him setting ball screens.
Yeah, and he is really good. He's really good at rolling to the basket.
Right. And if he's bigger than a lot of, you can just throw it up to him too a little bit if he's athletic. So that's why I think you want to play around with, the tops go set a screen away. He comes across the paint and sets a ball screen. It's basically it's NBA-ish stuff. It's ISOs. It's like, all right, Kevin Durant and Steph Curry are going to do something together, and then who's coming off this? It's like,
that's what we even had, and maybe I'm not thinking complex enough. Like we just had simple calls, like a side kind of call where the ball goes here. We'll get our shallow cut, maybe.
yep,
We'll get our shallow cut, and then we're just setting a side ball screen.
yeah. But I think you want to shell cut that and then stagger for that guy on the bottom.
Right. Yeah.
Because to be honest with you, once they get one or two of those ball screens, this guy's going to be wide open at the top of the key because these guys are going to cheat. They're not going to. Coach is going to yell at him because your guy just dunked on him or whatever. So all of a sudden this guy coming off the stagger is going to work with there, or he's not. The stagger's not going to be there, but this guy flaring back is going to be open. So it's not about being complex. It's about just putting them in the right positions where we can exploit him, the big guy. We can exploit him. That's what we want to do.
Right.
And if he can roll the basket, holy crap, I'd be running a ton of these. Most bigs can't catch the damn ball.
He's good. It was funny as a sophomore. I didn't think that he would ever even play basketball.
Right.
And all of a sudden he ran cross country 1 year, thinned out a bit, and just turned into a monster.
Yeah.
So we have ones like where we'll do just like a dribble handoff.
Yep. Those are great. Dribble handoffs are awesome.
Yeah, and we got into it last year. Like I never even really taught it that much. Our boys they did it a couple times.
Yeah.
But I could never get like the dribble handoff where I'm dribbling at you, kind of like the read react kind of that.
Yep.
I don't know if that's like is that like a power dribble or I don't know what it is where I'm dribbling, but this guy I can never get him to then cut. I'd always get a good dribble handoff. I could never get him to sometimes.
And that's the key. The cut is a layup. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a layup. It's if they cut. So that's got to be breakdown though too. And if you're thinking of doing like the staggered, if you're thinking of the ball screen, you got to. I mean, when I've had my bigs, I would literally take my 1 or 2 guards, and we'd take 5-10 minutes of practice, and we'd work on just setting ball screens and the slips and the throwing it up. I let them have some fun with it, but it's like so they get a sense of this is all about the reads, guys. Sometimes they're going to double the ball screen. Sometimes they're going to do this. So it's about those reads that they're, the play looks great, but you don't know what's going to happen defensively as a defensive coach. You might jump every one of those ball screens. How are we going to read that? Well, you might hedge, you might slip, all that kind of stuff. So you got to let them experience that so they don't freak out when it happens in a game.
And I like that because you're working defense, you're working offense.
You're working both. And the thing is, it's like, and I learned that the hard way. It's like, holy, it looks great, and we run it in practice and blah, 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 and then all of a sudden someone throws and we just, they got to be able to react because you're basically just, and you tell them, I'm giving you freedom. I'm isolating you and letting you do some stuff.
So that's where, going back to those initial rules,
yep.
And the 2 things we got stuck on was first, like the replacing. The second is we really want to work more ball screens into just a normal rule.
Right.
And we were struggling a bit. The only one I could think of is if we go a top to bottom pass and he stays on this block, run, we can still flare screen up here, and then we can run a little pick and roll there.
Yep, but this bottom guy's got to do something. Otherwise, his man's going to be all the way in the paint because the ball's on the baseline over there. So you got to get all 3 of them doing something if you want to isolate him.
So that's, again, I guess that could be a stagger, I guess.
It could be a staggered. It's just got to be something because so here's the kicker with the stagger. They're going to cheat on the stagger after you run it a couple times. Then the guy that's closest to the ball on the top has to learn to slip. That's a read and react thing. Like stagger, he's going to come up while they're cheating, right? They're cheating over those. This top guy that's the closest top guy to the guy in the baseline is just going to slip, and he'll be wide open. Swear to God, it's crazy.
We're coming down here to set a stagger.
Yep.
And you're saying this guy that I'm highlighting.
That guy, they're going to cheat. After you run it a couple of times, they're going to cheat. He's just going to slip back he's going to be wide open in the paint.
So you're saying the defender's going to start cheating?
The defender's going to start cheating for this guy because he's wide. Yeah.
Yeah, I see.
So he just slips. Boop. Yeah, especially if they're setting a ball screen, he'll be wide open. It's crazy.
So that's where I was just kind of, it would be nice to have a set rule for that, for just a ball screen. Because there are times last year too where we just kind of got away from it.
Well, I think if you trust your big, I would let him just, whenever you see an opening, ball screen, because he'll still only do it 25% of the time.
See, that's my issue when it comes to this stuff where, like, defense is so simple. Like when the dude drives baseline, I know we need to do this. Like when the ball's here, like,
yep.
But offensively, especially with the motion, there's so much.
It's so, but trust me, that's the way I started my career. You got to think practice wise. How am I teaching him how to screen? How am I teaching him how to read the screen? How am I teaching him how to do the staggered? We all teach about, some people push baseline, some people push middle, some people, keep them on a side. We all work on that, but we don't work on the offensive aspect of it. So you either got to figure out how to build them both together, or we're going to work on staggered screens. Here's the reads, guys. Let's work on these for 5 minutes. You probably don't think that way, and you got to somehow remind yourself in practice to do that.
Right. That's the thing. Defensively, we work on situations like, if someone's driving baseline, this help side guy's got to come over. We work on those individual aspects.
Right. But you don't do offensively. And trust me, you'll quickly learn they're more focused when you're working on the offense.
Yeah.
Because it's like, seriously, it's yeah. It's like a dog with a treat. Seriously. Because they just get excited because, we're working on scoring, we're working on shooting threes. They love that crap. Right? You don't have to sell them at all on that.
That's when I watch good teams and we go down to the state tournament, I watch those teams, and it just seems like, that's just got to be built into their offense. Like those guys got to know that in this, they're coming to set that ball screen.
They do. But that's repetition. It's right. Repetition. It's repetition.
Well, I'm thinking like it's like built into their offense. Like that's when I'm thinking about these rules. Like, okay, it has to be like on this top to bottom post is way.
I think you're giving those kids and coaches more credit, to be honest. Right.
And that's the OCD part of my personality where I try to find logic and probably.
Yeah, it's not. It's just, it's literally reads. It's, and because to be honest with you, that's the reason people don't run. You basically, if you look at what you have on the screen right now, your setup and flex are the swing set. That's right. The swing flex set. The problem with it is this guy would pass here, he'd screen, and it's too easy to defend. So that's where you got to teach them, okay, well, what are we going to do here? Well, maybe they're going to take this away. We got to do this then. So
my first year, they were coming off a 3-win season and graduated their 5 top scorers.
Right.
I had no kids that could play basketball. We ran swing for an entire season, never got out of it, and we won games like 40-28.
Right.
It was brutal basketball, but it was the only way that we could win games. Now, I've put in the work these last 3 years or so where I got a bunch of kids that know basketball, play a ton of basketball, and I can get into stuff now. But the problem
is, so this is the hard.
I want to go back to the swing because I know what they got to,
I know, but the hard part is this is where you got to give them here, and I'm gonna, from an old guy, I'm gonna tell you, you don't give a centimeter defensively. You got to give them some freedom offensively. Like, here are our rules, and then that's where film comes in. This is a good shot. This is a bad shot. This was a good screen. That was a bad screen. I give my guys a lot more freedom on offense.
Sure.
They'll quickly know what a bad shot is. Don't get me wrong, but there's no compromise on defense. Like, you won't even get on the floor for me. But offensively, watch the North Carolinas, watch the Dukes, watch the Connecticut's, watch the, Villanovas. You got to give them, because otherwise I'm going to be able to stop you. I can out defense. If I know what you're going to do, I can come up with a scheme to beat you. But if this guy's going to all of a sudden come and set a screen here, or no, he's going to flare and do it's harder for me to defend you. So that's where I think you got to give the big guy some freedom. With screening and, keep jacking the guards. Like, this is a good shot. This is a bad shot. When do we need to get situational stuff? We're down 6. We've missed the last 4 times. What do you think we need this time, guys? We need a post touch. We need to get to the free throw line. We need to get our big the ball. You gotta start teaching them to think that stuff offensively, because defensive is easy. We just.
I'm curious. What are some teaching points for your post? Because we've got, we've had those timeouts where, we got to get a post test. Next time down, let's get a post test.
Yep.
So, we're screening, we're moving, but our big just kind of won't get open, and because, after you score about 6-8, they're fronting them, they're working them over, they're helping them.
Yep.
I'm just kind of curious. What are your teaching points?
Well, and it might not be him at that point. He might be a decoy. We might be able to get the one of the tops cutting the basket. It doesn't necessarily, if they're on a run and you're down, it doesn't have to necessarily be a post touch. We got to get to you either got to get a shot in the paint, a post touch, or a free throw. Those are what stop runs. So, maybe use him as a decoy, because to be honest with you, if he's scoring, I'm putting two guys on him. I'm making someone else hit a shot at that point.
Yeah.
So as that's what you got to think. Okay, maybe it's not. Maybe he's gonna. We're gonna yell a play which they think we're gonna go to him, but we're not. We're gonna get a guy cutting the basket. We're gonna get. That's where you want to get to the free throw line. You want to. That's how you can stop runs. Free throws and post touches, which can be a guard in the paint area, doesn't necessarily have to be him.
That was the beauty of our last summer league game. We were playing a team that they win the state consolation last year, something like that. And they were playing behind them.
Yep.
And then they were doubling with the backside.
Right.
So letting us get in here, and the amount of times that we were able to skip, and then we ended up beating them.
Right.
And I wish that didn't come at the end of the season, because now our boys are in football mode now, and they've completely forgotten about that.
Right.
But yeah,
but I think you remind them of it, because they'll remember. And it's like, well, then you got to convince these four guys out here that you're the best 3-point shooters in the country. To be honest with you, you have to. It's like, if you're open and your feet are squared, go. And then I would be crashing the boards.
Mm-hmm.
I would, if you're playing 4 out 1 in, and this corner guy shoots it, I'd be sending 2 of them. Like, you go to the offensive glass like your life depends on it, because if they're guards, those are hard to box. Guards are horrible rebounders. They're horrible at boxing out. Yeah. So that's what you got to be selling that too in practice. Like, maybe your assistant coach only watches offensive rebounds, because they're going to have 2 guys on him. It's going to be a lot harder for him to rebound.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that kind of clears that up. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was, so we've only played man. That's all we've ever played.
Yep.
We've experimented a little bit with some run and jump stuff, mostly just in the half court, trapping passes.
Yep.
I mean, it works. It works at our level.
Oh, it works.
We just have some coded stuff. Like, it's something simple. Like, what did we do last year? So every defensive down, I'm yelling out colors.
Right.
Red, white, blue were our jump kind of series.
Okay.
And it was like a little different, but we're trapping the first pass and rotating. The trap was coming from different people every time. But other than that, we haven't got that exotic defensively.
I love the red, white, and blue thing. I love that.
Well, we got to a point where I had them numbered before. And 5
I love that, because that's easy. I've always worried about, like, these colors are – I love that, because red, white, and blue, everybody knows red, white, and blue. That's one thing. And then every other color is something else. I love that.
My first year –
I'm stealing that, 5. Coach. I'm going to use that.
So my first year was 5. And after we've done it about 4 or 5 times, kids started to pick up on it. They knew who 5 was.
Mm-hmm.
And so then we're trying to, hide it in. But for 2 years, nobody's caught on the color coding. They don't know that it's coming. And if I can just get my knothead kids, so he's coming down, right? And we want to trap something.
Yep.
Well, this is like the time my kids are actually getting up the line like I want them to.
Yep.
Denying every pass.
Right.
When we want the pass to come down here.
But
when they're not denying, we're pretty good at it. But what I need a change of pace defense, something different. You go watch these good teams, and they're not just playing straight man the whole game. They have something else they can mix in there. And we experimented a little bit with the 1-3-1, but I just don't have tall, lengthy kids. And I found
if you're one big and they're not tall, lanky, I wouldn't do 1-3-1. I do.
Right.
Are you worried about protecting him?
No, not necessarily. Just something to get them out of their comfort zone a little bit.
How good are the teams that you're playing have? I mean, you could obviously do like a 2-3 or a 3-2 matchup, but you could also do most of your teams have 1 good player, 2 good players? How many players are you worried about on opposing teams?
1. I mean, most teams will have 1 good player.
I'd run a diamond and 1 every time. I'd have 1 guy chase. His only responsibility is chasing that 1 person, and then I'd put your big down here on the bottom.
So big on the bottom.
Yep, big on the bottom. He doesn't leave the paint, so this is different. This is why I like it. So put the guy that guy right there and put an X by it. That's the guy you're boxing, right?
Okay. Yep.
So we'll put an X by him. So he's guarding that guy. whatever. Yep. So he's guarding that X. So these guys, the bottom, what makes this different is, and this would be good for, especially if you have a good big, the bottom guy does not leave the paint. He's got block to block. That's it. And maybe halfway up the paint. So he is protecting this area, means you will not give up any layups. Okay. So then these three are basically running a 3-man zone. The wing will have the corner. You don't have to worry about the low block. He can come over. This guy can take low block. He's got weak side. It will freak people out. This guy will never score. The guy on the X will never score because there's nowhere for him to go.
We've ran into this a couple times
in
the past, like on us. And so help me out. So I'm thinking this from an offensive point of view. That we've had luck just running guys through the middle, running cutters through the middle against us.
I know. And if they X your big guy?
No, I'm saying like offensively we ran into some diamond and ones.
Right, but who did they diamond one? Your big guy?
No, we had a couple decent shooting guards. I had a
okay.
Guys
because it won't work if they're doing it on the big guy. So that's okay. Yep. So on a guard, you're saying.
Yeah, so on a guard, so we'll sometimes we'll just tell this guy just to stand at half court. A lot of the teams that will do it aren't as good as us.
Right.
So that's fine. Like I still like my 4 guys better than your 4 guys.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks for this kid.
Right.
And then we just had luck just running guys through the middle, just running.
You do. But I mean, if you've got 4 good, decent athletic guards, that won't work. I'm telling you, if this guy's staying home, that's the difference. If this guy stays home in the low block, the cut's not going to be there because where's the ball right now? So do a couple passes, and I can show you where they go.
All right, so let's see if I can I put a circle in here.
Okay, there's the ball.
Let's say the ball's down there right now.
Yep. So this bottom guy's going to take him.
So he's going to come over.
Yep.
Well, maybe. So he's going to come over.
This guy's going to be at the elbow.
Is this guy going to be at the elbow?
Yep. That guy's going to sink at the elbow because he's not guarding anybody right now. He's in the help line. He's basically playing like a zone. Yeah.
Okay.
So and then this guy's got the low guy.
So what happens? So then this guy.
Yeah, it's basically help line. He's sinking. His foot's probably in the paint at that point. Because if I can get to him.
Have you ran this before? This diamond?
I have.
I mean, do you teach us where essentially kind of like a matchup zone?
It is.
I mean, basically, because more than likely they're gonna have 4 guys out here.
They are, and the kicker is it never. The reason I've run it because I've had some like college high major big boys that I can't get in foul trouble. He's not going to get in foul trouble. He's not going to get in foul trouble because we've always told him play behind, and we can always dig on that post. Go ahead and kick it out because this is your second, third, fourth best shooter. We'll still get a hand up, and that's and from a dig from this wing there, we're fine. He's basically going to get every offensive. He's going to get every defensive rebound, and he's not going to get in foul trouble. I'm telling you.
What happens if they run this guy through kind of like on an overload set?
Yep.
So if he's up a little bit higher and they run this guy through.
So he's going to stay. This guy is going to be here. The short. I let him go short corner, so this post can go to the short corner, which is fine.
And then these guys like switch.
Yep.
Okay.
But he'll jam him when he comes through. So the big guy can jam because this guy's already sinking. So he can jam him and slow him. Yeah, he can slow him down. He's just not. He's literally only that's as high as he's going. It's so nice.
All right,
and it's a great way to protect him if he gets in foul trouble.
What are you doing against this? So you're on offense right now, and they're diamond and one your guy. What are you doing?
What am I doing? I'm probably overloading inside, so I'm probably putting a red over here. I'm probably putting a red. Yep, I'm putting one in the low block and one at the elbow.
Low block ball side?
Yep. So what I'm going to do then, because so I'm going to probably go at your big guy at that point. Go ahead. I mean, you just got to teach him not to be stupid because at that point, everyone's rotated. He's gone. This guy's gone to the corner. The top guy's got this guy. This guy's sunk over. So basically, we've just shifted. The problem is you got to be able to. That shift has to be pretty fast.
Okay.
But at that point, I'm maybe going high post and then looking for an ISO for the block. But if your big is good, I ain't scoring on you. That's the only spot that's open, really, is that low block.
And I mean, he's only a sophomore, but he played last year as a freshman, 6'4", athletic. I mean, he's all around our best player.
Right.
And he just shuts kids down. So
right. The thing is, you're playing high school basketball. You're not playing Duke. The second, third, and fourth best shooters aren't as good as shooters as this first one.
Right.
You know what I mean? So all of a sudden, you number 2 and number 3 are not as good. And then I've also done it as an inverted triangle in 2. So I left the low guy there, and I chased 2 guys, and then I put 2 guys at the elbow, and put the bottom guy. The bottom guy has the same rules, doesn't leave the paint. These 2 got to bust their butts then because they got to cover a corner and stuff. But then what do I have shooting? I have the 3rd or 4th best shooter on the team shooting. Go ahead. You know.
And this guy is a straight 9. I mean, he has
no help. That guy, you're coming out if he scores because he shouldn't even catch the ball. Like, that's your only responsibility. You don't have any help responsibility. You have nothing. It frustrates the crud out of that kid too.
Yeah, no, and it last year, 2 years ago, we played a team, wasn't very good, and they just do junk after us, and you don't see this. Like, to be honest, it was one of the few times that I truly felt like I was unprepared.
Right, and the thing is, it works 2 ways. It puts you in charge. That's the first thing, and the second thing is it will protect your big. It's a great way to protect him.
And that's something good to think about. I didn't even think about it that way because when this guy gets in foul trouble,
you're a whole different team.
We're a whole different team at that point. And I don't know. It never happened last year. Like it never happened last year where this guy's hurt or foul trouble or anything.
Right. And you can run a regular 2-3. I mean, you can run a regular 2-3 5 times in a game. And then throw this at him, and you just throw it a couple times, it'll freak people out.
One thing with the 2-3 is that everybody has offense for a 2-3. And everybody kind of has offense for a 1-3-1. But they said something like this.
Yep, and even a 3-2 that becomes a 2-3, like a 1-2-2. So when the ball gets to you put your big guy at the top, and then when the ball gets below the free throw line, he sinks down to the middle, and then when the ball comes back up, he sinks. That's a good one too. You're not protecting him like you are in that other one, but yeah, put those. So it looks like a 1-2-2 or a 3-2, and then that's okay. Yep, and then that other oval. Yep, that guy would be down. So now he's up here. Holy crap! I'm not shooting from the top of the key if the big's up there.
So our big guy's up here.
Yep, that's your big guy. And then when the ball goes down from where you were down to there, he starts sinking. So as the ball goes down, he starts sinking. Yep. And as the ball gets lower, he sinks and he becomes the middle of the 2-3. And then as the ball comes back up, he comes back up. He's going to have to work his ass off, but it freaks people out.
No, and I like that. And maybe not this year, but I just have some crazy athletic, tallish anyways.
Well, we can 1-3-1. Let's get through this year. And then if you got tall athletic, 1-3-1 is the best.
Right.
It is the best.
Yeah.
With the big, it's not quite as good. But when you get a bunch of 6'3" guys, it's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so I have a 6th grade, I guess 7th grader now that I can get up and dunk the ball.
Right.
I mean, it's just for us for small town northern Minnesota basketball. I mean, those kids don't come around very often.
No, and you want and a 1-3-1 will freak people out if you're athletic.
Oh yeah, I mean we've gone against some other teams that with tall athletic kids, and it seems like we're barely getting this top.
The problem is you basically are taking angles away. You're not trying to. They're just making you pass to frustrate the crud out of you because if the ball is where the top X is, and this guy's here in a 1-3-1, it's like you can't make. You just basically gap it.
We had a team. This is probably the second time I feel like I really got over coach, but they had a super tall athletic kid here, and he was just straight fronting him. I mean, he wasn't even staying behind him, not even cornering him. I mean, just straight fronting him.
Yeah, you should. On a 1-3-1, the ball should be fronted there. To a point where he was like 2 or 3 feet in front of him, but this kid could jump so high and his arms were so long that he made himself right with his athleticism. And then they had big wings out here. I mean, we could not get the ball to either corner. I mean, it was a mess. I know. That's why, That's when you don't want to, when you don't have the big. And
so the only other thing defensively with this diamond one, excuse me, is that I have, like I said, that defender that I have, it was good. I mean, like last year as a freshman, we had players that were averaging 28 points a game, and you'd hold them to like 6 or 8. I mean, so the dude can shut guys down.
Right.
So we played like our normal man, just he had no help responsibility.
Yep.
So, I mean, this is a little bit different look with the diamond and one, but it's essentially kind of the same thing as when we get into one of our man sets where we're just straight denying, no help here.
Right.
So aside from the diamond one, is there any other kind of change of pace defense where we're not denying, just something just to kind of get them off their heels a little bit?
I mean, you can run that out of a man too, where everyone else is playing pack and that guy's denying. I've done that in the past. So if you're a man coach, just tweak with the man. Say, okay, you're going to be in full denial. You got no denial, and everybody else is in pack line. I mean, there's ways of dealing with it. Or we're going to push baseline. We're going to funnel and trap when it gets to the baseline. So that's where I think if you, especially you saying you're a defensive coach, just play with that. Like we're going to deny Johnny, who's the kid with the ball, and the rest of us are pack line, which means you better have a foot in the paint, blah, blah, blah. And, that's why I think you tweak with I don't think you reinvent the wheel. I think you stay with your man principles and you just tweak it according to, whatever you want to do. If you want to deny, if you want to push baseline, if you want to double every time he gets the ball, and then when he gets rid of it, we're straight man. Kind of those kind of things. They're little tweaks, but they freak high school kids out. You know what I mean? The rule is when John catches the ball, we're doubling him. And everyone's rotating. And then when he gets rid of it, we're straight man like we normally run. And they're going to go, what the hell are they doing? So it's it's similar to that, I think.
That's a beautiful spot of where I coach is at. And basketball's good, but it's not like that good. So last year we played a team that ran sort of like that Gonzaga kind of wave offense, sort of that continuity ball screen. I'm not sure if you're super familiar with it or not, but we just jumped every ball screen. And
right.
I was like they had never seen it before. They didn't know what to do. And they scored like 8 points in the first 10 minutes. Eventually the coach was pretty good, then he adjusted. But, I mean, little things like that. I mean, everybody plays such traditional basketball here that they don't see stuff
That's
like
what I'm saying. I think it's little wrinkles, not big stuff.
Yeah, because in my mind, like for this, I was thinking like a matchup type zone.
Yeah.
But I just don't know.
But a matchup's going to take you some time. That's the problem.
That's what I was worried about is that, and that time is going to have to come away from our other defensive time. There's only so much honey in the pot.
Yep. And here's our offense. Here's our man principles. All we're doing to these man principles are doing this one little thing. That's all we're doing. We're doubling.
That's what I like about the Diamond One is that it doesn't seem that hard to coach because you're essentially playing man.
Right.
And then on ball reversals, we just have to scramble and just man up.
Right.
Yeah,
that's what I would do.
I like that idea. And then that 1-2-2 with that guy sinking.
Yep.
Okay. 1-2-2.
So I'm gonna be honest with you right now. You're gonna do all this, and about 70% of it's gonna work, and 30% is not gonna work. But
I think you're high.
We'll tweak. We'll tweak. We'll tweak.
Yeah. No, I think you're a little high on that even. I look back, so I have each year of like my offensive game plan, and I just look back at my first year, and I don't think I use anything.
Right, but that's, I mean, if you're gonna do this gig, that's what you got to pivot basically. Yeah, you got to pivot. No.
And part of it's changing personnel, and part of it's this is only my third year.
Right.
I'm still kind of figuring out what works and what doesn't. But all right, those were the major ones that I had.
All right. When do you start practice?
Not until like Thanksgiving.
Oh God, you're late then too, like us.
Yeah. And
we'll get back together after you. The thing is, I've told a couple other coaches too. It's like trust me, I got pieces of paper all over my office. It's like the thing is, we're all thinking great things, but then 2 weeks after the season start, we'll get back on because that's what's going to happen is this didn't work and this didn't work. And do you have huddle or a crossover? Crossover. Okay. All right. So we can share some stuff too.
Yeah, and it's hard too because I coach football too, and like I think for the last 14 years we've made the state tournament 12 times, and we've made the state championship 4 times. So our kids, like last year, we made the state semis. That was on Friday. Basketball started on Monday.
Oh, and for you too, because I coach boys volleyball, which is right now. It's like, oh my God, I don't know how I do it. It's like juggling like 6 things. I know.
Right. Every time a kid's on the grass, I'm just crossing my fingers.
Oh, I don't even go anymore. I don't go. I can't go. Half my bat. I want to play, and don't get me wrong, I love that they play, but it just makes me too nervous. I just can't do it. Like,
yeah. Try being on the field.
Yeah, it's got to be worse. All right, Coach. We'll talk soon again. All right.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
All right, no problem. Anytime. Bye.
Hey, Coach, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you're looking for a mentor, me. If you're looking to become a better coach, check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. 14-day free trial, all the resources you would ever want.